Hi, this is Tara with Tara's Tips, terrific ink paper stamps. And today I want to show you how to make a card using the Garden Greenhouse bundle. And this is the card that we're going to be making. And it uses the Ornate embossing folder. So we'll get started. Okay, so here's a little better picture of the card we're going to do with all the embossed with the Ornate floral folder. And then here is our inside. And then I like to do a little bit on the envelope as well. So I am going to show you how to do that. First, this is on page 28 in the Occasions catalog, the mini catalog, the January to June. I had a customer that wanted me to demonstrate this at her workshop, and I didn't have it, so she was kind enough to let me borrow it so I could demonstrate that at her workshop. And I'm going to show you, before we get started, some of the other cards I came up with. And then in another video I might show you how to do the greenhouse bridge card. And that's the back. And of course I did my envelope a little bit. This one is done with just using the stamps, no die cutting involved. And this one uses our New Horizon designer paper and with the vellum behind. And I actually did 2 layers of vellum, and I used the blending brush with some soft succulent to just make it a little bit darker so you couldn't see through the greenhouse quite as much. I didn't want to put a full panel behind because I wanted you to see a little bit behind. And that's my inside, and then my envelope. And I was part of a card swap, and I got this card in my card swap, and I like how she did that. This was done by Carol Slack, so I like that card. So those were all using the Garden Greenhouse, and this is the stamp set here. And we're gonna get started. Okay, so these are the dies that we're using, the greenhouse dies, and we're gonna start with a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of soft seafoam, and we're gonna run that through our die cut and emboss machine. Let me put it this way, zoom out a little bit. And we're going to put it up towards the top, but not the whole way to the top. I'm sorry, I guess we've got a glare on that. Okay. Now this piece here is, let me zoom back in. Is Pear Pizzazz, and it's 3/4 by 4 inches long, and we're gonna glue that down. And I've got my fine tip glue bottle here. I put the Tombow glue inside because I like the fine tip of it. I'm putting that about right there to leave some room on either side of it. And then I am going to put my gold shimmer ribbon right on top with some tape here. I'm just going to put it on top of a piece of scrap tape because I don't have my silicone mat here to put it on. That way all the extra sticky gets on that and not my workspace. I'm just pushing around any extra tape that's stuck out there. Putting that on. Oh, we still got a little bit of tape sticking out of the ribbon. Tucking that behind. And I'm going to run that through with the Ornate Floral embossing folder now that I've gotten all my layers on, because I wanted them all to be embossed. So I will be right back. Okay, so here it is, all embossed. The ribbon, and then here's a piece of basic white that I've already cut out with the greenhouse die. We are going to stamp on that. And I'm using Pear Pizzazz ink and this image here. I'm just gonna throw a piece of scrap paper underneath. And I want to keep it down towards the bottom. So it's like that. And then I am going to stamp my flowers. This is Bumblebee. First flower I did not get so good, so I'm going to try to line it back up. And it's not perfect, but it will do. Gonna stamp in Rich Razzleberry. And we've got Bermuda Bay. You can do whatever colors you want. I just wanted to keep something bright and cheery. And this is Flirty Flamingo. This is the only stamp that you have to stamp specifically right there. There's that. So now you've got that for in here, and we are actually going to cut this off as well as cut out our greenhouse, our intricate greenhouse. I have a piece of old Sizzix adhesive sheet Stampin' Up! Sells the ones that are not Sizzix now, that are still the double-sided. But what you do is you take your sheet. I like to make it slightly less big than my piece of cardstock. This is a 3x3 piece of Pear Pizzazz, and we're just pulling it open. And normally my sticky is on the white piece, not the Sizzix side, but for some reason these ones are on the Sizzix side. So we're going to press that down, and then we're going to take it and run it through like this. Shut this. So we'll have our plates on here. We'll put this on top, and then this, and we will run it through. I'll be back in a minute. So since that is such a detailed die, I do like to run it back and forth a few times. I'm just going to pull this piece away. Take your pick tool, brush tip. I have the old style one, but there is a piece like this that has the circular bristles that go on your take your pick tool. So I'm just looking, I still have a few more pieces. I'm going to go over it a little bit more with this before I get out my take your pick tool to try to get the last of the pieces. And I'm just using the pokey tip. And a lot of times when you pull away your paper, this comes off, but so we'll just pull it away and see what we've got here. So we've got one little piece, and I just stick my finger there and it pulls it away. Okay. I'm gonna lay that upside down here for a minute while we glue on our card front to our card base. This is an 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to use my fine tip glue bottle with the Tombow in it, and before we do that, I'm going to cut off my little doorway. Usually I don't use a lot of glue, but when I'm talking about using embossing folders, I tend to use a little bit more. And then I'm going to glue my white piece in. Okay, so now we're ready to put the detailed greenhouse over top. And because we put the adhesive sheet on the back, it has all kinds of sticky back there already. We don't have to worry about glue. I'm just pressing it down good. And we are going to stamp our sentiment. A friendship nurtured in love blooms forever. And that's not quite as dark as I want, so I'm going to do it again here on the edge. That looks a little better. And we're going to take our rectangle postage stamp punch, punch that out. And we're going to pop that up with dimensionals. Oh, and before we put that on, I want to do some sponge daubing around the edges. Okay, and our inside, just stamping these in the corner, and I decided I wanted a bush as well. And I like how that gives you multi-layers of color with one stamp. And then this one is just the tips of the bushes. I can't seem to make them line up perfectly. So I just stamped them however, and I think they look good. And we're gonna bring in a pop of yellow here with the Bumblebee. And we're also gonna do our envelope real quick. And why not add that poppy yellow? And that's all the amount of glue that I use. That makes it a lot easier to get off if you put it on crooked and it's not shifting for you. And that's it. Our pretty garden greenhouse card. Oh, it's not it. I forgot the rhinestones. These are the champagne rhinestones. And I used one of the biggest size, and then the next size up. Let's see, we'll put that right there. And one of the smallest I'm going to use for the doorknob. Okay, now that is it. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, please like it and feel free to subscribe. Thanks.